Okay, so I would like you to meet Jolene, Lance, and I don't know this last guy's name. But they're all Iowa farmers. And you know what? They're in trouble right now. Because the cost of fertilizer and fuel for their machines has gone up. It's been a while since I did a report on US farmers. I mean, I did one a couple days ago on the Kentucky bourbon industry. So I figured, you know what? Let's take a look and see what the farmers are up to. And all I gotta say is, it's gonna be a rough one for them. And let's not forget the state of Iowa's voting results. 927, and 19 of them voted for this chaos that we're going through right now. And I know for a fact that at least one of these people on the screen right now did vote for the orange guy. So we're gonna get into two reports today that talk about the situation in Iowa. But before I get into the first report, we have another maple washing case that I wanted to show to the community. One of our Discord community members posted this on the server. And you can clearly see that the product itself, it says product of USA. But on the grocer's tag, it says product of Canada. This is a clear-cut case of maple washing, and the person who posted it on the Discord server is going to file a case with the CFIA. So I do encourage anybody that does see the maple washing in their local grocery stores. I forgot to mention, this one was at Freshco. If you do see it, I highly encourage you to submit a case to the CFIA. And if you want to submit a case, you can submit it by Todd Maffin's link. It's b.link/maplewashing. He made it a lot easier for all of us to submit a case. So if you do come across any maple washing at your local grocer, please submit it. It's the only way we're going to make a change. Alright, let's get on to the first report that shows the victim story of these Iowa farmers.
When I saw the new fertilizer price, I'm like, holy crap. Talk about a kick to the gut.
Spring is here, which means it's planting season in Iowa. For corn farmers preparing to sow their fields, the war with Iran couldn't have come at a worse time. So this is the fertilizer.
Right.
So how much did the price of it go up after the war in Iran erupted?
It went up about $250 a ton in my neck of the woods.
Well, I'm not afraid to admit it. I didn't know that much fertilizer comes through the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, everybody's so focused on gasoline and oil coming out of the strait. I really didn't know about the fertilizer. But it seems like these farmers are getting hit twice. Once when it comes to fuel, and the other when it comes to fertilizer. Ah, shit, that sucks for them, doesn't it? What is going on with you? Here, eat this. Eat this.
Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a critical transit point for a third of the world's fertilizer, sent the price soaring. The cost of two widely used nitrogen fertilizers shot up by 20 and 50% in the first few weeks of the war. A decade of inflation, low commodity prices, and tariffs have squeezed Jolene Reeson's profit margins. She's now facing her toughest year yet as a farmer.
You know, every year's a risk when you farm, but this has kind of been compounding. You know, our prices have been low, and yet our input costs continue to ratchet up.
Now, a question for you, Jolene, is why are things starting to compound? Why are things starting to get more expensive? Were things actually better in 2024 and earlier? I'm going to guess yes. Because the rest of the world knows. We know. I'm just wondering if you do.
With the price of fertilizer already higher than last year, she put off buying until last month, hoping the price would go down. Then the war started, and the opposite happened. With the window to plant closing, she had little choice but to buy at a high price.
For the amount of fertilizer I was going to buy, it had gone up about $13,000 in 2 days. What pot does that come out of? You know, fertilizer price, we can't control. Fuel price, we can't control. Where is it all going to end up? We don't know.
Well, technically, it could have been controlled with your vote. Because the way that Iowa voted, along with all the other farming states, this is the result that you got by checking the box beside the orange guy's name.
This is like the worst I've ever seen it. Gambling what our futures are going to look like.
Farmer Lance Lillibridge has been representing Iowa corn growers for 14 years.
The current conflict in Iran is hurting farmers everywhere in Iowa and across the country. If we're not able to sustain our land with the nutrients that's needed to grow a crop, then our yields are going to go down, eventually going to drive up the price of corn, which is what we use to feed chickens, pigs, and cattle, amongst other things. And eventually that is going to go back to the consumer at the grocery store.
Let me bring up this profile of Lance again. And I'll leave a link in the description below if you guys want to check it out for yourself. But it says here, Benton County Supervisor, Republican District 1. I think it's pretty obvious who he voted for. And it really kind of irks me when you hear these victim stories from the farmers, but yet they cause it themselves. I mean, if I was a farmer or if I was in the bourbon industry making liquor, And I know I'm in a red state. If I'm being interviewed, I would be as loud as I can saying, hey, I did not vote for this, and, trying to separate myself from these guys. But we're not hearing any of that from them, which kind of leads me to believe that we know who they voted for.
While it may take some time for shoppers to see the price increase reflected in their groceries, Jolene's costs continue to climb higher than what she makes for her corn. This is the corn that we've been talking about.
Yep.
At today's price of corn, she could lose roughly $110 per acre across her 530 acres.
We just did the math, and so maybe looking at losing $58,000. So what am I going to do to negate that? I have never lost quite that much before.
Still, she has hope the price of corn will go up this year to offset at least some of that loss. She keeps a close eye on its every move in the market.
Time to check the markets.
How many times a day are you checking the prices?
Sometimes half dozen times a day, and sometimes that isn't enough.
Well, my guess is that the prices are going to go even higher, because as I'm editing this video, the orange idiot posted this on his Truth Social. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day, Bridge Day, and all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Orange Guy. You see, this post right here from this deranged idiot is the reason why I have absolutely no sympathy for these farmers. So you better be prepared for your fertilizer and fuel prices to go up.
Now you know that at closing at 2 o'clock they were up 4 cents, and now they're down 2 cents, which means that was a 6 cents move in the market. Crazy.
And today I'm promising to request additional farm relief for our great patriots in the next funding bill.
Last month, the Trump administration lifted sanctions on fertilizer sales from Belarus and Venezuela to try to ease the price surge and promised more aid to farmers. Still, Jolene is making hard calculations to stay on the farm that has been in her family for 85 years.
Those income sources could very well be selling some equipment. There's a chance that there could be some ground sold. And then what are you left with? For some farmers, it's a legacy. That's my legacy that I'm selling. If it was up to me, the war would be done yesterday.
Well, it was up to you, except you decided to check the box beside the orange guy's name, along with thousands of other farmers as well. But you know what? You said you had to sell some property. So that might actually be the plan of the US government, is to buy up all the property from farmers who can no longer afford them. So if that is the case, you fell right into their plan. Now before I move on to the last guy and his story, I would like to thank Jocelyn for sending this photo of the St. Lawrence River from the Rimouski area and catching this awesome sunset. I know I've been showing a lot of photos of like the coastline or lakes and things like that, but I have to admit I am kind of missing that. Because here in Kuala Lumpur, there's not many lakes or like coastal areas that I can visit. So I do appreciate everyone that's sending photos and sharing it with the community as well. Alright, let's get into this last guy's story.
The reality he and thousands of other Iowa farmers are facing is nowhere near as bright.
Farmers are under a lot of stress. A lot of farmers are reporting to us that in some cases they're on the brink of a crisis.
The reasons why vary. Iowa Corn Growers Association President Mark Mueller says the skyrocketing costs and availability of fertilizer, which is largely controlled by just a few companies, is the most current issue.
I'd say it's safe to say that my fertilizer company is making more money per acre than I am off of the corn I raise. And I'm not even sure I'll be making money on corn this year.
But some say it's merely the latest. Ultimately, the problem is that there's more than one problem. Between high input costs, a lack of federal support, a dry winter, and an ongoing international conflict, there's only so much that farmers can do to relieve the pressure. And at a certain point, those efforts can hurt more than they help. Whether it's putting off equipment repairs or upgrades, or foregoing fertilizer.
Farmers are
We're all
really tightening their belts.
Both Lehman and Mueller say these short-term fixes have long-term consequences on both equipment and yields and the farmers themselves.
I was amazed at how many people knew of a farmer in their neighborhood who had committed suicide. That how many had gone bankrupt. There is stress out there. And it could be done away with by a few different solutions.
Now, the video cuts off here, but I can guarantee whatever solution that he's thinking of is not going to work. Because the only solution that is really going to fix a lot of problems right now is for the orange guy's cholesterol to really start to kick in. But for these farmers, I think you guys are way past the point of no return right now. And unfortunately, you're going to have to go down with the ship that you voted for. Now, I'm not trying to pick on these farmers, but there's clearly a lot of people that are pretty pissed off at the farmers for the way that they voted, and they're not showing any sympathy either. I mean, I'm not the only one that's asking who did you vote for. I mean, look at these comments that were in the TikTok video. Everyone's pretty pissed, and everyone's asking who they voted for. So it's going to be interesting to see how these Iowa farmers, the soybean farmers, and even the bourbon industry, I mean, they're all very red states. It will be very interesting to see how they vote during the midterms. But if I had to guess, a good majority of them are going to continue digging themselves into a hole. Okay, everyone, that's all I got for this video. I'm actually really curious to see what comes out of this post, because by the time this video is published, the day would have been over. I really do hope that he just tacos. If you found any value or agree with anything I said in this video, or you want to see more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one. Do you want to say bye to everybody? Huh? Do you want to say bye? Now you're quiet? No? Say bye. Okay, she's not going to say bye.